Hello, Abigail here with the Tarot Scopes for Pisces season, Earth signs. This is for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and I will be doing it in that order. Also, if you want to know about the astrology, that is linked below in the description box. So yeah, let's get into it, starting with our friends, the Tauruses. Hello, my Taurus folks, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It is Pisces season. We are at the end of the zodiacal year. It is going to be quite a season. There's a lot of astrology happening. That's why I linked the video below. But kind of the main features are we have an eclipse. We will have just come off of an eclipse as we enter this season. We're in the eclipse portal as we enter the season. There's a Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So yeah, a lot of very intense energy, as well as the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, just a whole lot going on. So bear that in mind as we do this reading. I will say for eclipse season, some of the readings have been a little more, I don't say mild, but not as bombastic as I would have thought. Ooh, one of my favorite cards. But starting off, we have your archetype card, or your oracle card. It is Anima, which is that spark of life, that initiation of something, that beginning. So something right now is really beginning. It makes sense since we're kind of hinging between two different eclipse axes. We're on the, Virgo Pisces one currently, but we just had the first Aquarius eclipse. Just a little bit of astro information. We don't get out of the Virgo Pisces axis fully until the beginning of 2027. So we're still in it for a minute. But there is something sparking, something new. I feel like a lot of, I could say us, I'm a Taurus sun, have been going through transformations and shifts and changes, especially the last eclipse cycle might have been real spicy for some of you. That would have been in Virgo season. So maybe look back at what was happening in the fall. But yeah, well, late summer, early fall. So this is going to be a really beautiful season of beginnings and new things. Remember that Anima, though, is the beginning, the very beginning of something. So I don't necessarily think some big new change is going to happen in the sense of like, oh, we started something and now it is complete. It's more like I am on a new journey. I'm taking the first steps. I am beginning the first signs of life. It feels very spring-like when those first little shoots pop up all over the place. So there's something really exciting and growth-oriented happening. I think officially it'll kick off with the spring equinox, which is just how energy works. But let's get into your tarot. Let's see what the tarot has to say. Oh, this is the first time this one's made an appearance. Congrats, Taurus. Not me saying some of these were mild. LOL. Okay, interesting. So we start off with what is generally expected during eclipses, the Tower. Things are crumbling. I would hazard to guess they are still crumbling. I feel like this is a continuing process, partially because we have the Eight of Pentacles, which kind of, to me, implies a continuance of something. But with our friend the Tower here, shifts and changes and dramatic exits and a lot of big energy is moving through your life. Like I said, I feel like it's a continuance. This is a continued fallout from other things that have been happening. I would almost hazard since last, because Pisces is the 6-month marker for Virgo season. Since Virgo season, there are a lot of shifts and changes. Things are still coming down. Your foundation is secure, but the things that you built on it, not so much, or that were built on it for you, which is kind of how I feel. I think a lot of the things crumbling for you right now aren't necessarily like the works of your own hands, but the places in which you have compromised with others, which have them compromised the stability of your building. These are the relationships that maybe were brought over from a different time in your life. These are the situations and the jobs that maybe we took because we had to, not because we wanted to. And the universe is doing the good old clear. So just know that this is a purge, that a lot of stuff is going to continue to crumble. And I don't think we're looking at stabilization until we get into our season. So we have a bit of time to transition with this Anima. Remember that the crumbling is to make room for growth. So while we should grieve and we should process, it's not all bad and over. There's something right on the horizon coming towards us that is going to be good. Also, we do have the 8 of Pentacles. This isn't burn everything down and don't don't keep anything old. This is continue to build on the stuff that is stable, continue to grow the things that do align with you, that are your passions, recognizing that the stuff that is not will fall away and you'll become more and more aware of its alignment as it crumbles and slips from your grasp. I'm kind of getting a message from Spirit that some of you are currently in a relationship or in relationships, could be romantic, also could be family, could be friends, where you are not being fully met and cared for. And we have another 8 of Cups. And you are currently, or have recently, or need to, because all of us are in different places, need to step away and walk away, right? There's this idea of continuing and building and growing, but there's also this idea of like, oh, I need to move on. And I don't always read an extra card, but I think this is important in the context. This peeked at me from the bottom of the deck. The 8 of Cups is the walking away from something so that we can attain the 9 of Cups. You were headed towards the 9 of Cups, but you still have to leave some stuff behind. You still have to shed and purge and release. The Tower is going to help you do that. The 8 of Pentacles is going to help you maintain the progress you've already made that doesn't need to be, washed away, but can be improved on. And you also have a 3 of Cups. So this is also a time to really, while you're losing these other relationships and situations that are not really working for you, but there are still relationships in places where you are safe and held. They just may not be the traditional ones. Maybe your family's not the safest place. Maybe, your romantic relationship has kind of lost the safety that it requires. And so going into friendships and other dynamics to, connect with people in a way that is safe and stable, and then taking that energy and being like, here, universe, you see this? You see these really beautiful connections I have here? Few, possibly. I would like more of these. And if we're clearing the way, let's replace them with something that's more beautiful and more aligned and more supportive of who you are now. I really feel as though for a lot of you, there's been a huge kind of like cleanse in your friends and family and in your romantic situations. And whenever there's a void, I always encourage people to manifest a filling of that void. If things are gonna get cleared, we need to fill the spot with something intentional, or it will be filled with just whatever. So this season, continue to work on your labors of love. Release anything that is not, connected or aligned to you, knowing that it's going to lead to something better. And connect with and really show the places where you are supported how much you appreciate and care about that. Anyways, my loves, that is my reading for Pisces season. Stay strong. The cleansing process is still ongoing. It will probably not be fully over until 2027, but it will definitely start to feel a bit more stable, especially once we officially get Uranus, in Gemini. I will say that does, cause problems for other signs, but technically we will be free from Uranus for the first time in 7 years. So more stability is coming. It's just more like mid-year. Anyways, my loves, I wish you a blessed Pisces season, and I will see you later. Hello, my Virgos. This is your Taroscope for Pisces season, Virgo Sun, Moon, and Rising. Pisces season is a lot. If you didn't see the intro, there is a video linked below that has the astrology for the season because we got a lot going on. Eclipses, retrogrades, Neptune, Saturn conjunctions, all of those things. But let's get to you guys and what's going on. So your Oracle card is release. I do have a sneaky feeling all of the earth signs are going through a bit of a purge and a cleanse. Not a huge shock because the South Node isn't an earth sign. It is in your sign, Virgo, and it is trining all the other earth signs. So not a huge surprise that the Virgo eclipse that is happening on the 3rd of March is going to be cleansing. And I think the message here is we need some trust in the universe to take what is necessary to allow the universe to remove things that are no longer working for us or helping us, recognizing that it may hurt, but that it is for the best, and I'm a Taurus with a Virgo moon, Virgo rising. So I get how hard it is for us earth signs to let go of stuff that we are not ready to let go of. We're great when we're done with something, bye. But we do struggle when something is near and dear and we're not quite ready, but it is clearly time. So allow the universe to take and to cleanse and release any energy you've been holding onto or pent up. I would encourage a lot of you to do unbinding spells or cord cutting spells. I think it'll be helpful. It'll really assist you in kind of moving through this energy of release. Also, see if anything in your life has expired and if you just need to let it go. Even if it's something small, like an object or situation, or something big like a relationship. Yes. Ooh, interesting. I don't think I've had these cards in any of the other readings. I may have had one. I think I had the Ace. I had the Ace of Pentacles in one of them, but let's get into your moment. I do think this is very apropos. We have the release and we have the King of Cups. It does feel like there needs to be some authority in your release. You need to take control and charge of what you were letting go and do it consciously, because if you in this moment for you all, if you don't do it consciously, you're just going to continue to repeat the same cycles over and over again. And so in this moment, you need to be really conscious about your emotions, about what you want, about what you're moving through, about the things you want to manifest. I also think we are grieving something. Do a Five of Pentacles. I love this card. It's one of the cards when I was reading early on that really kind of solidified my interpretation and my kind of connection to the Five of Pentacles. You've worked really hard on something and it's not going to work out. You've tended to these little tomatoes, you've protected them from bugs and pests, and unfortunately they still got hit by blight. And so your hard work, effort, and love and care just feels cast aside and destroyed. And there's a lot of healing happening in this season. I think you are going to grow and learn from the situation if you haven't already and become a much more powerful and strong person. But it's a hard place to be in the Five of Pentacles. It's also this sense of lack on a lot of fronts, just feeling like your needs aren't being met. This is the time, King of Cups, to be like, my needs are not being met. I should communicate that. And if communication doesn't resolve the issue, then there is a good chance that maybe the situation you're in or the relationship is just not functioning, even if you care about the person. And I'm not saying cast it aside immediately, but you need to have a conversation with this person about that. And if you can't have a conversation, then it's not a functioning relationship. The next card is fun, though. We do have the Devil. I hear the Devil get talked about a lot of obsessions and all these things, and that is true. We could tie it back to your disappointment, possibly, but when I see the Devil, I like the Devil. The Devil is about doing things that are against cultural norms. They're about doing things that are against what is considered right in a social sense. And it changes over time because, in society, being a chunky, beautiful, luscious goddess used to be the beauty standard, and now we want starved people. So, these things shift and change, but the energy of the Devil stays the same. And so I encourage you to go against the grain, to try something new, to step outside of your box. I'm not saying that all of the new things that you try are going to work out, but they are going to inform you more of what you want moving forward. Also, I feel like you might be in a situation where you really had to toe the line. Now is the time to be the Devil. This also pulls me back to this relationship that I keep kind of sensing is there. Like I said, I think for some of you it's family, some of you it's friends. Pardon me, some of you it's relationships, like a romantic relationship, but it's time for you to be the Devil. When we stand up for ourselves, when in the past we have not, oftentimes we get villainized. And so this is your moment to just accept the role of the villain and be like, hey, if I can't talk about my feelings, this isn't a healthy relationship. If we can't have healthy confrontation and arguments, then it's not a healthy relationship. I say this all the time. I only fight with people I love, because why would I fight with someone who I have no intention of maintaining a relationship with? That's crazy. So I encourage you to, test some of your relationships, not in like a vindictive or petty way, like, oh, you didn't do this thing and I didn't communicate, but test in the sense of bring up how you're feeling, try to start a healthy conversation, be the Devil in these situations and accept that you will be villainized if this is not a healthy dynamic. On the bright side, if we do all this stuff, we release, we allow things to unfold the way that they're going to, as long as we are true to ourselves. We get this lovely Ace of Pentacles, which I'm really excited for. You know, new things are coming. I do think we just have to clean out the garden a bit. We have to replenish the soil. We have to make sure the blight is all gone. You know, put some compost in, and then we plant this little seed. And I do think, especially into the fall, when we hit Virgo season, I think you're going to have something really new and beautiful that is already, you know, partially formed with little fruits on it. But we do have to do the purging work now, and that starts with kind of emotionally cleansing ourselves. I think a lot of you would benefit from maybe a sound bath or something, or a Reiki healing to kind of help also clear this energy. And during the season, you know, a lot of people push back against working with eclipses. I just don't suggest manifesting stability during an eclipse. You can cut cords, you can release, you can hand the reins over to the universe. There's a lot of ways that you can work with eclipses that don't necessarily put you at the whims of put your entire happiness within the palm of the chaos of the eclipses. But you can clear and release and allow the universe to do what it does while you remain true to yourself. And that would be my advice for you all during this season. Anyways, my loves, have a blessed Pisces season. I am sorry for the disappointment. It feels very raw. But know that there are better things. There are truer people. There are people out there who will value you and appreciate you, and you won't have to carry the load by yourself. But we have to get through the season in order to get there, and you have to be the devil, which honestly, kind of fun. Anyways, bye. Hello, my Capricorns. These are the tarot scopes for Pisces season for your sun, moon, and rising. But yeah, this season, incredibly spicy. It's going to be a lot. We enter during an eclipse portal. There is a video linked below for Pisces season. You can check that out. It's for the astrology. But yeah, this season is a lot. And the earth signs feel like they've been getting a little special hits. It actually feels like a lot of the earth signs are kind of going into Pisces season, already having experienced some tricky stuff already, and the eclipses are doing kind of like the final pass of clearing, which is nice. We're getting towards the end of it. But let's see what we have for you. Starting off, we have intuition. We got to trust ourselves. This is also a reminder that your ruler is now in Saturn. All the rules have changed. Saturn is in fall. You get to try different things. You get to test your limits and your boundaries and see where it goes. But I think the most important thing for you during this time and journey, which is about going to be 2 more years, is for you to learn to trust yourself, to listen to the initiation and the spark that comes with Aries energy, and to trust in your path more moving forward. I think a few of you, I don't believe in the whole kind of capitalist stereotype around Capricorn, but I do believe some of you, well, maybe it may not be a societal standard, might have some personal standards that are getting in your way. Follow your intuition instead of what, you know, is a created sense of right and wrong. What feels, ooh, a jumper. What feels true to you in any given moment versus what other people think, what might feel safer, what we might be told to do. You know, it is genuinely about you. And during this season, I think this is a perfect time to hone said intuition. Oh, nice. All right, so we start off with a couple of court cards. Whenever we see court cards, it is about embodiment. And so what do we need to embody during the season? We start off with the Queen of Swords, which I love when that comes up in an intuitive sense. There is a quickness and a decisiveness with the Queen of Swords. This is also kind of an indication that maybe we need to plan some stuff, not necessarily announcing it to the world while we do it. You know, if you're going to make some moves, make sure that you have them planned and settled first before you share them. I get the feeling that maybe not everyone has your best interest at heart, and I don't know that anyone's going to physically block you, but some people may not be happy to see you thriving. And so, you know, if you have any big plans in the works, keep them under your hat until you're ready for the big reveal. We also have the King of Cups, which the Virgos also got. You know, there is a need for emotional, like claiming your emotional space and taking power in your emotional abilities and in your ability to stand up for yourself and to be clear with what you want. Not all of my Capricorns are easily swayed. Honestly, I find with Capricorns and most signs, it has a lot to do with your moon, to be honest, or where your ruling planet is placed and what, you know, attachments are. That's kind of how astrology works. But you know, not all of you are easily swayed necessarily, but sometimes you can be easily pressured. Like responsibility and accountability can often be thrust on you, and so you're going to need to have some physical oomph to be like, no, this is my life, my decision, my thing. I'm going to do what I want in the way that I want, when I want, and how I want. And obviously, if you have a partner or someone that you live life with or family, yeah, maybe you need to discuss some of those decisions with them. But at the end of the day, you need to trust yourself and your own intuition, um, especially if it has nothing to do with them besides them knowing you, to be honest. We also have this judgment. I do think we're dealing with a lot of past life stuff currently. Not a shock. Your ruler is Saturn. Saturn is karma, basically. There are going to be a lot of old ties that will be challenged during this time. You're going to see the quality and the stamina of some of your relationships during these eclipses. So be prepared. Do I think it's going to work out for the best? Yes, but it's going to be pretty gnarly. Also, I think some of you might meet people that you feel a really strong attachment to. And while I don't deny the value, I sense some of you have already met this person. I don't deny the value of that attachment, but sometimes past life attachments can be really strong, but they're not necessarily right place, right time. So, still listen to your intuition and, trust yourself if there are any red flags. Just because a past life connection has shown up does not mean that either one or both of you is ready to fulfill that contract, and that has to be something that you come to together, either subconsciously or consciously, in a consensual agreement. You cannot push someone to do past life things if they are not ready. I find that people who listen to my readings are the ones who are already on their past life path and already pushing things. So we tend to be the people who are kind of stuck having to honor another person's journey and be like, well, I guess if you don't want to complete karma in this lifetime, there's nothing I can do. So always remember that even if there's a strong connection or you feel like you don't get a say on how that person decides to process or to move forward or to not move forward. You can only take care of yourself. So focus on your own progression and your own spiritual path. And what is meant to stay will stay. Last but not least, we have an Ace of Swords. New things are coming through. I think you're going to get a lot of lovely information with the Pisces Mercury retrograde. It is sextile your sign, which is a really lovely kind of conversational, chatty aspect. And I think a lot of the confusion that you're feeling is going to clear up towards the end of the Pisces retrograde, a Mercury retrograde, which will be ending like right around the spring equinox. So hang in there. Some stuff is convoluted. Focus on what you can do and yourself and listening to your intuition. If you're asking like, what is intuition? What is panic? Intuition is quiet as hell and calm and stable and remains the same. Anxiety tends to shift in volume, become more or less urgent. You will feel different one day to another. Intuition is just a calm pressure. So look for that. Anyways, my dears, that is my reading for this season. I really hope that you are able to listen to yourselves and find a path forward. If someone is not ready to move forward past life-wise with you, it's not your fault. It is just the nature of the soul, and some people are not ready. And if you are, you will eventually find the people who are, whether it be friends, family, children, lovers, all those things. They will come in time. But it is important that you be true to yourself and that you lean into your own emotional strength and intellect in this moment. Anyways, have a blessed Pisces season.